Finally, Trump's legal team is able to make some leeway here in Michigan as they are calling for a forensic audit, and it has been accepted by a judge that they can review 22 Dominion voting machines. But I also had some other odd key details here. Real quick before this video begins, it would mean the world to me if you smash the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, leave a like or a comment, and maybe even share with some friends if you think I do a good job disseminating the important information the news won't tell you. And that'll be it for now. Funnily enough, would you believe me if I told you that as I Google searched Michigan judge allows forensic inspection, pretty clear, pretty cut and dry. This story broke yesterday, I believe. Not a single one of these news sites covers it at all. One of the very, I would consider it one of the largest Trump wins thus far. Yet none of them cover it. Look, we have a Chinese website here. I believe it's Chinese, and they are brought up before an actual news site in the U.S. I don't see CNN covering it, ABC. I don't see any other news sites covering this. And there are multiple of these Chinese websites covering it, yet nowhere else, not even on page 2. No. I had to do some digging for this. I even went to Google News and typed in the same type of thing, Michigan forensic audit, exactly what had happened. Nothing. No claims of it at all anywhere. You will find claims sooner stating that his lawsuits were thrown out in Michigan than before you will find anything on Google News about this. Kind of odd how that happened. I wonder why that might be. But that brings us to our actual story here. As we see, Michigan judge orders forensic review of 22 Dominion voting machines, Giuliani says. Okay, it says here, a judge in Antrim County, Michigan has authorized a forensic audit of 22 Dominion voting systems machines, according to Trump lawyer Rudy Giuliani. He states, big win for honest elections. The former New York City mayor wrote on Twitter on December 4th. This is where the untrustworthy Dominion machine flipped 6,000 votes from Trump to Biden. Spiking of votes by Dominion happened all over the state. And yes, this is, I believe, the area in which the lady she'd been pretty much the one counting the ballots there the whole time, her and her group. And they reviewed it afterwards. They were like, wait, this doesn't seem right, because Biden had actually won that area. And after they had recounted all of the votes, somehow they found that the 6,000 of the votes had switched from Trump to Biden. But it's just simple human error as they write it off. Everything happens to be human error. I wonder what amount of human error actually reconciles some action to be taken on these instances. But as we've seen, that is not what the Democrats are about. They would much rather say, you have no evidence, none of your affidavits, none of your expert analysis, which is actually something that can be used in court. Experts are considered verifiable. None of that matters to us, for we know the truth. You even have that Democratic representative at the hearing not too long ago freaking out saying, I know they're lying. I have emails from people. Well, you tell me then, are those emails, do those hold up in court as an actual affidavit does? I don't believe any of the people who emailed you magically at the TFC Center, as you called it, because you don't even know the name of the place after living there for 62 years. I don't believe that any of those emails hold any weight at all. They're unverifiable. They don't mean anything to the situation. Yeah, as it states here, the Michigan Secretary of State's office said the votes were flipped due to a human error by an Antrim County clerk. So there are just a ton of human errors happening here. Real quick, we also have the famous human error here too, the video that proclaims to be someone handing off a USB drive to someone else. And some of the comments saying, this isn't suspicious at all. This is just, I see a lady having trouble to get up, having a hard time, as her friend, literally stands up. Yep, move over to the right just a little bit. There you go. Nothing suspicious about that at all. And blonde braids. Do we remember that? The lady in the blonde braids was the one who was setting everything up. And this is in Georgia, of course, but these are just human errors that happen. Magical vote flipping, but they have nothing to do with any conspiracy. It also states a judge in Nevada has previously granted the team access to a signature machine or matching machine made by a different company. In that case, the campaign complained that while the judge granted a forensic review, the campaign was given what amounted to a guided tour instead. Now that makes no sense to me. If you were asking for permission to specifically have a forensic audit of Dominion voting machines, why would they give you access to a signature matching machine? That doesn't make any sense at all. That literally doesn't even compute. That those aren't the same things, so why would they grant access to one and not the other? It's almost as if a lot of these people are trying to cover something up. I'm unsure of what that would be, but of all the things, you would think that it'd be pretty simple to say, all right, a forensic audit, that's nothing too important. Here you go. You can have some access. I mean, hell, give them a couple machines there to play with, to tinker with, see what they find. I would think that some of these Republicans in office would have something more to add on to that. Maybe I get the point. I think we had the most fair and honest election of all time, as Raffensperger claims. But no, you can't look at any of the stuff. Why would you want to do that? What are you, crazy? Just listen to what I say. I said it was fair, right? My statement, while I'm not under oath, while I have no accountability at all, is a very valid one, unlike these affidavits. We could just take those and throw them in the trash, right? I really hope you get arrested, Raffensperger. You're a bad person. The Michigan GOP on Friday raised concerns about a memo sent by Michigan Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson that is pushing for the mass deletion of election data. Yes, mass deletion. Although a spokesperson for the Secretary's office later said this process is routine. Now that part blew my mind. Tell me this. How are these routine processes in our election? They seem so insane. There's no way that should be something allowed within our election process, yet deleting all of the data within the accounts being held on these different machines, that's a normal process. Stashing ballots underneath a table hidden away from all of the other ballots while you collect, like throughout the day, you grab them from a specific corner of the room, but then these ones stashed underneath the table, that's a routine process. Telling everyone to go home and no longer be concerned with the vote counting because we're done for the night. That's just a routine process. That happens all the time. Making up a pipe bursting so people leave all the time. Just routine stuff here. Nothing to see. But you can't look at the Dominion voting machines. What are you, crazy? Why would you want to look at those? But fairest election of all time. Nothing to worry about here. This is just happy Candyland that we live in, where everything is fine and dandy. Everyone's a good person around here. The GOP said Benson's office told clerks in Michigan counties to delete electronic poll book software and associated files, amid calls to audit the election while flagging it was concerning. So to get things right, she not only stated to delete electronic poll book software, the software accused, this I believe is unrelated to Dominion. Well, it's related to Dominion, obviously, but I do not believe it's software made by Dominion, and the associated files. So I would assume the different statistics that keep different poll times, different tabulations, all of that. So you were to delete the software accused of flipping the votes as well as the associated files. It just gets crazier and crazier, and this is a routine process for these people. Well, maybe it's a routine process, but let me tell you, it should not be one. That should be the last thing that you do. That shouldn't be done until at least the next president takes office, in case something comes up. And when you have so many different inconsistencies like this, there is no way in good conscience that you should be able to do something like that. She should actually, for once, please hold one of these people accountable. Just one. At least one, please. You can see it right before your eyes. There's video evidence, hundreds of affidavits coming out from everywhere. From the craziest things, from a truck driver driving ballots from New York to Pennsylvania. I mean, come on. These are things that have never happened before, and yet they're only concerned with deleting the election data and the software, as well as Raffensperger only being concerned with groups looking to falsely register in Georgia for the Senate runoff, but he doesn't care about what happened at the State Farm Arena because he doesn't care about you. He is literally the prime example of a rhino. I haven't seen any of them brought into the limelight like him. But yeah, he doesn't have to say anything. The way that Democrats get away with it is just saying, this has been debunked because I said it, so you believe me, right? You believe me with no accountability over these people who are willing to go to jail if they are wrong. Makes no sense as a statement at all. But yet these people believe him. They just fall for it. They actually just love being slapped around by the media, having people like Cynthia Johnson just spit in their face. They love that. They live for that type of stuff. Please lie to me more. I love it when you lie to me. Don't tell me the truth ever, because then that would hurt my world views. That would actually make me think for myself, and I can't do that. Why would I want to think for myself? He also says here, you shouldn't decide anything based on what I believe, said Giuliani on December 2nd, adding that the evidence presented at the hearing was just a sample. And I'm telling you, he held this book up. This bitch was thick. Like, it looked like a damn Bible sitting there from how many affidavits he had in there. He says there's a plethora of evidence that you can go through that will convince you that this election was stolen. I would ask you to go through that. And I would say the same. I've read a good amount of these affidavits, obviously. And there are so many that fall along the same line. And it really blows your mind every time that you're looking through it to just see how many, like, how can people dispute this as no evidence? That claim in and of itself, if someone says that there is no evidence, that's just a clear-cut way to look that person in the eye and say, no, you're a liar. You're an absolute liar. And I would suspect that the people who tell you there's no evidence and the Raffenspergers of the world that say, oh, everything is fine and dandy, the most fair election of all time, they're in on it. They got a piece of that pie, baby. You know they got a fat check for that one. They sold their soul and the American people, and we need to hold them accountable for once. I'm so tired of it. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.